The historical conflicts between religion and science have always been a power struggle between institutions and groups of divergent or even conflicting interests. While religion is a symbol of faith, meaning, and life discipline, science, on the other hand, is a torchbearer of unearthed universe secrets and shatter the common belief by logic. History has witnessed that every individual who dared to challenge the common long-established beliefs was ridiculed, opposed, and even punished by the social, political, and religious authorities of the time. But why such fundamental elements of human society always stare each other in eyes? Is there a question of coexistence, or they always duel each other throats out? We will find out in this video. Socrates, the ancient Greek philosopher, was sentenced to death by drinking a cup of poison, hemlock, in 399 BC. He was accused of corrupting the youth of Athens and impiety, or disrespecting the city's gods. Socrates' method of questioning and challenging the beliefs of his fellow citizens made him unpopular among some influential figures in Athens. Despite his defense during his trial, he was found guilty and sentenced to death. Socrates' death is famously depicted in Plato's dialogue, Phaedo, where he accepts his fate calmly, discussing the nature of the soul and the afterlife before drinking the hemlock. His death marked the end of one of the most influential philosophical careers in history. Similarly, many mathematicians know that the Greek mathematician and philosopher Pythagoras, 582 to 500 BC, was kidnapped from Egypt by the invading Persians and imprisoned in Persia, present-day Iran. But few physicians are aware that some of the most illustrious medical scientists and physicians have been persecuted and even executed or murdered for their professional, religious, or political beliefs. Rhazes devoted most of his efforts as a physician to the practice of surgery and to teaching at the medical school in Baghdad in 9th century. He introduced the works of Hippocrates and Galen to the Arabic world. His Western teachings, rational thinking, and fame as a medical writer and practicing physician brought Rhazes into conflict with the local hierarchy. He lost his teaching position, he was arrested, and his books were outlawed. His torturers hit his head with his books until he was blind. He died in extreme poverty. At the dawn of modern science in the 16th century, scientific institutions were rather weak compared to the Catholic Church, which largely dominated the intellectual world. The scientific revolution began in 1543 with Nicholas Copernicus and his heliocentric theory, and is defined as the beginning of a dramatic shift in thought and belief towards scientific theory. The scientific revolution began in Western Europe, where the Catholic Church had the strongest holding. It is believed that the scientific revolution began in Western Europe because of the freedom to pursue other ideas provided by most European universities and which go against church authorities. There are numerous examples throughout history of scientists who faced criticism for their ideas before being vindicated by further evidence or advancements in understanding. Here are a few notable examples. Galileo Galilei. He faced significant opposition from the Catholic Church for his support of the heliocentric model of the solar system, which contradicted the geocentric model commonly held at the time. He famously clashed with the Catholic Church over his support for the heliocentric model of the solar system, which contradicted the geocentric view held by the Church at the time. Galileo was tried by the Roman Catholic Inquisition and forced to recant his views under threat of imprisonment. Spent his last days in imprisonment. Nicholas Copernicus. Like Galileo, Copernicus faced opposition from the Catholic Church for his heliocentric model of the solar system. His work, De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium, challenged the geocentric view of the universe, which was supported by religious authorities at the time. Giordano Bruno. He was a philosopher, mathematician, and astronomer who proposed ideas such as the plurality of worlds and the infinity of the universe. Bruno's rejection of certain religious doctrines, including the geocentric model and the doctrine of the Trinity, led to his condemnation by the Roman Catholic Church, and he was ultimately burned at the stake for heresy in 1600. Michael Servetus, a Spanish physician, discovered in 1545 the lesser circulation, the pulmonary circulation. Because he wrote a book in which he included certain remarks on the reform of Christianity, the book was regarded as heretical. He escaped from Spain and the Catholic Inquisition, But in Switzerland, the Protestant Inquisition caught up with him. By order of John Calvin, Servetus was arrested, tortured, and burned at the stake on the shores of Lake Geneva, together with copies of his book. James Hutton, also known as father of modern geology. His theory of deep time and gradualism in geology contradicted the biblical account of Earth's creation, leading to criticism from some religious circles. His ideas about Earth's structures and its age were directly in contradiction with biblical accounts of formation of Earth, hence drew heavy religious criticism Charles Darwin. His theory of evolution by natural selection, presented in his book On the Origin of Species, challenged the biblical account of creation and the idea of special creation. Darwin's ideas were met with resistance from some religious groups who viewed them as incompatible with their beliefs and also biblical accounts of creation of human race. Edward Jenner developed the smallpox vaccine despite initial skepticism and religious concerns about altering God's work. These scientists all encountered resistance to their ideas, but their perseverance in the eventual accumulation of evidence led to their theories being accepted and recognized as significant contributions to their respective fields. But why the religious minds were so opposed to science? Religious opposition to science in the past often stemmed from a variety of factors, including conflicts between religious doctrines and scientific findings, fear of challenging established beliefs, and concerns about maintaining authority and control. The basic difference between these two fields can be summarized into two distinct words: belief and logic. Religion is largely based on a belief system. To be considered religious, you have to believe in the existence of a God, and also believe the description that the scriptures attribute to him. However, to be considered scientific, you have to think and arrive at conclusions logically. Science is open to challenges, whereas religion is usually opposed to it and views a challenge as a threat. The rules in science which we believe are empirical and open for validation. This means that anyone can test a scientific fact at any time, and all of them will get the exact same result, whereas in religious context, it can be random based upon God's will. Here are a few reasons why religious authorities sometimes oppose scientific advancements. Conflicts with religious beliefs. Scientific discoveries occasionally contradicted religious teachings or interpretations of sacred texts. Threat to religious authority. Scientific inquiry and critical thinking can challenge traditional sources of authority, including religious institutions. Some religious leaders viewed scientific inquiry as a threat to their power and influence over society. Fear of societal upheaval. Scientific discoveries can lead to paradigm shifts that challenge established social norms and structures. Religious leaders sometimes oppose scientific advancements out of fear that they would disrupt social order and stability. Perceived moral implications. Some scientific discoveries were perceived as morally or ethically problematic by religious authorities. For example, Darwin's theory of evolution raised concerns about human origins and the nature of life, leading to opposition from some religious groups. Cultural and historical context. In many historical periods, religion played a central role in shaping societal beliefs and norms. As a result, religious authorities often wielded significant influence over public opinion and could exert pressure to suppress ideas perceived as heretical or blasphemous. Can religion and science coexist? It's important to note that while there have been instances of conflict between religion and science in the past, many religious individuals and institutions have also supported and contributed to scientific inquiry. The relationship between religion and science is complex and multifaceted, and it has evolved over time as both fields have developed and changed. Certainly, here are a few examples of religious individuals who made significant contributions to science. Gregor Mendel, Georges Lemaitre, Nicolas Steno, Al-Farabi, Michael Faraday. These examples demonstrate that religion and science are not inherently incompatible, and individuals from religious backgrounds have made significant contributions to scientific advancement throughout history. Religion should be opening arms to the wave of progress and innovation brought upon by science and research, and science should anyhow comply with the morals and principles acknowledged by religious assemblies.